Hi, I'm Steve. This is Fran. Today we've got really a very interesting comparison between Thermador and Miele. I mean, probably two of the three most popular luxury premium appliances you can buy. So let's get into it. What do you think?
Absolutely. So let's break it down by category here. And these guys really compete in a lot of different categories. So let's start with cooking and let's talk about ranges first.
Harmony versus Pro Grand, so I don't get confused myself. The Thermador's got two, the Pro Grand, which is deeper, and it's got one hotter burner and a couple different modes that are different than the Harmony that sits flush. Then you've got Miele that's got theirs. And then we're talking dual fuel versus all gas. Let's do all gas first.
Yep.
I like the Miele. Again, you're talking about two different styles. Miele is kind of more flashy and contemporary, whereas Thermador is more basic and kind of industrial looking, right? So I like the Miele in the 30-inch sizes because you get three 19,005 and one kind of, simmer burner. When you go up in the Miele, you still get the 19.5s, but it decreases in the back. Whereas on Thermador, you get, like 18s or 122 in the Harmony, and 18s and 15s, 1000 BTU. So it's all pro style burner. So the top, I would say, I would give it to Miele from a burner standpoint.
Power output, yeah.
They talk about the star burner.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? And that it gives more flame. But I just think it's heat transfer to a pan, and pan cooks food. But the nice thing about a star burner, it's raised, so it's easy to clean. I like that better. However, in terms of options, when we talk about grills and griddles, Miele is way better. Miele's got the infrared grill, which, by the way, is the same as a Lynx infrared 10,000 BTU. Only they call theirs a sear burner. Directed heat, does a great job searing. And it's got a gas versus electric griddle versus electric griddle on the Thermador, right? So it really depends. I think from a power standpoint, you're looking at Thermador. Thermador's got the 100 BTU simmer, but it's an on-off, but it's a little bit better than the Miele. If we're talking about controls, the Miele is far better in all gas because you have controls in all gas. You got a clock, timer. It's self-cleaning in gas, whereas Thermador is not. In the oven, I think certainly I think you get the twin convection on the Miele, which is better than the single convection, especially go to the bigger sizes. However, when you go to the 36, you get induction on the Thermador as an option, which is going to be faster than a burner. So on 48, you're getting a full steam oven on Thermador if you want that as an option, versus steam assist with Miele, which will give you bursts of steam, which isn't quite the same as cooking at steam. How am I doing?
Doing really good. So you're good. You got them all down right here. This is perfect. And also way more options. So the nice thing with both these brands in the 48 is they do give you some unique options that you don't really get with a lot of the other brands. Dual fuel only, exactly.
Right? So if we're talking dual fuel, you get the steam oven and Thermador versus steam assist. And the M-Touch, I love the controls. The controls in the Miele are far better, where you just hit a button, to cook even with the steam option, right? With the steam assist option. And you get a speed oven, which is microwave convection combination. So you can cook fast without the rubbery texture of a microwave. And you got a warming drawer that nobody considers, yet people are paying $1,500 for independently.
Yeah.
Warming drawers are great because they don't dehydrate the food. So it really depends. I love the controls. I like the dual fuel better on the Miele. I like the controls. I'm more of a Miele type. I think I like it better, provided that you can deal with lower burners in the back. But the grill's better, the griddle's better, the controls are better, the convection system's better. And of the steam ovens we sell, I think Thermador is not as intuitive as Miele's.
Yeah, those are all great points. And really, that's where Thermador, I think, lacks the most is you're seeing all these brands really come out with the intuitive cooking, the touch screens, and Thermador has not really gotten there yet. They've added some things like the Wi-Fi, so if you have the app, you're able to do some of those things, but definitely not as easy, not as intuitive as having it right there in front of you. Miele just has really thought about a lot of different things with, the self-cleaning. You can leave the racks right in the oven as well.
Cleanability.
Self-cleaning in the all gas, like you mentioned, just really makes it really easy to use. Like the look is very, very different. Thermador is definitely that traditional professional style. Miele definitely much more contemporary, I would say. So that is really kind of a personal preference there. But as far as the features go, definitely I would say the Miele kind of in both all gas and dual fuel.
And then you got to start talking about price, because buying in this can be very strategic. Miele is 15% off in certain kind of stop and start. We don't know when.
Yeah,
kind
mailing
of way.
rebates. Yeah.
Whereas Thermador's got the 1-2 free, where you can get $13.99 off other products if you buy the range, and another rebate if you buy their refrigerant, right? So from a price standpoint, it can vary widely depending on when you buy it,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Induction ranges now is a little bit different for sure. So Miele on the induction really only has that 30-inch induction, whereas Thermador now gives you a 30 and a 36-inch option. And on the Thermador, I'd say I really like the induction top on the Thermador compared to the Miele.
Yep.
The Miele is really kind of still that traditional induction top, 4 burners, no bridge burner. Whereas the Thermador, you're really going to get still that nice, you get the heat shift control where you're able to kind of go up and down to change the setting on there. The bridge burner on both sides for the 36-inch. So their induction top, I would say, definitely more feature-driven and more flexible than what the Miele is there.
Yeah, their top is the Thermador Liberty cooktop, that we'll probably talk about later, where you can set it. It's basically bridge burner. So if you have any type of pan, it'll fit on the Thermador, and that's not a given on the Miele. However, the Miele oven has the M-Touch controls where you can cook with steam and twin convection.
Yes.
So if we're talking about 30 on 30, the top way better on the Thermador,
Yeah.
but the bottom is way better on the Miele. So it really depends on how you cook.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good segue into the induction cooktops now. So Miele definitely, has a much better induction separate cooktops than they have on their range, whereas now in their newer induction cooktops, way more powerful, gives you the bridge burners on both sides. So they've really kind of stepped that up to be more in line with what you would expect as well.
Yep. Thermador is really good in one thing that no one ever talks about because no one really has service. Most places you go aren't going to service what they sell. We do. And Thermador and BSH, the company that owns Thermador, are far and away the most reliable we sell. And that means something because those things aren't easy to fix.
Yep.
Right? You don't have as many problems with the cooktops as you do in the ovens, because the ovens take 50 amps. You get a spike and that'll fry the control panel. But be as it may, Thermador's got the Freedom, which was 10 years ago, really was an avant-garde product where you could move it around. The Liberty you can move front to back. The Freedom you can go side to side, which is nice if you want to griddle and you don't want to put it vertically and cook here and warm here, you can do that. But 10 years later, there's a lot more powerful stovetops out there. So I like the Miele for power. Thermador's great for reliability and flexibility.
Absolutely. How about gas cooktops?
And it really depends. Again, you want griddle, you're going to go with a Miele.
Yeah.
If you're going to buy burners only and cooking all the burners, I think Thermador's better. And I like the Star burner from a cleanability standpoint. In terms of overall gas cooktops, the Thermador with the star in the middle has always been the most popular.
Sure.
Than the Miele, which is more staggered burners.
And they've done a nice job of really taking those kind of high power BTUs, the low sim, and really bringing them into their cooktops as well. So you really don't lose a lot of those features when you go from a range or a range top to the cooktop. The raised pedestals on the higher end units as well, which is easier to clean. I do like the Thermador gas cooktops.
I like Thermador's better there. What about wall ovens?
So wall ovens is a good one. And this is where I would say, similar to where we talked about pro ranges, Miele has just incorporated so much technology and ease of use into it with that Master Chef program like you find in their dual fuel range, the guided cooking, the steam assist as well in their wall ovens, everything from wireless temperature probes, the easy clean to leave the racks in there like we said before, twin convection oven. Thermador, you're really not getting any of those things. It's still a single convection. They have the, really standard control panel where they have the Wi-Fi built into it again, but you need to use the app for some of those extra modes. So I'd say here as well, Miele really kind of stands apart as far as kind of ease of use and intuitiveness, and really all those things. I think the Miele kind of gives you a lot more.
Oh, I totally agree. You know, Thermador's got side swing doors,
Yep.
which I think is kind of interesting because you're in the oven, you don't have to lift over the door. But really, when they introduced their new stuff like 2 years ago, it was the same stuff, only combined to make more stuff. But they don't make it easy. The great thing about Miele is, and you know, you should really demo it, or you know, we have some videos on it. It's so easy to use. We're just hitting buttons and letting the oven do the work. And I really like the steam assist because it can, you know, we talk about, everyone talks about dual fuel being better, but yeah, that's true, but not for meat. I mean, you're drying out a meat, you know, and one thing a steam assist can do by adding steam, it can add texture and flavor, which is something you can do with a Miele that you cannot do in a Thermador.
Yeah.
I think in terms of ease of use, technology, usability, other than a side swing, Miele is really dominant here. I think in terms of them versus Thermador. I think when you look at wall ovens, you're looking at, you know, you're certainly looking at Miele, you're looking at Wolf, you're looking at Gaggenau. Those are your three best, and then everything else is kind of like beyond that.
And even still with steam ovens and speed ovens, like steam ovens, you know, Thermador does a nice job with the combination with the steam and the wall oven. And they really have one of the largest steam ovens on the market other than
You
the
can't
Miele.
figure,
Right.
but you can't figure it out.
Yeah, that's the problem. Miele still gives you all those kind of auto cook, easy to use, whereas
Touch a button,
yeah.
let us do the work type
Yeah.
of thing, which is really important. You know, we throw out words like steam and speed and everything else, but if you can't use it, it's going to be an ornament in your house. And that's not the
Yeah.
intention.
Yeah.
Intention is for you to use it. Because if you ever use a steam oven, your food comes out a lot more flavorful. And I think it's kind of a shame that people go with that double oven. Whereas if they go with if you use it, great. If you can go with a single oven and a steam oven, I think you can really enhance the way you cook.
Definitely. How about refrigeration now? Switching categories a bit.
The refrigeration's made in the same place, right? So Thermador's got the newest 42 and 48 integrated, so they look great with cabinets. Tough to install. I'm not a real fan of the 48 only because the top shelf sits so high, and I don't know what that bulge in the middle is.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Miele doesn't have that, so by default, Thermador is probably better.
A lot more options.
A lot
with
more
Thermador,
options
for sure.
You know, the Miele's still got the 36-inch single door.
Yep.
You know, worked for Sub-Zero for 60 years, so it's still it hasn't gone away. That's a good product. And oddly enough, Thermador doesn't have that anymore.
The 36-inch thing, you're correct. Yeah, because they added the
They
extra
doubled
drawers.
it.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. So I would say from that vantage point, you know, you got to go with Thermador almost by default.
Yeah, a lot more options there for sure. And then last category here would be dishwashers.
Well, Thermador's a Bosch dishwasher. And I thought the most interesting dishwasher and one of the most interesting dishwashers they ever came out with was the one that can do a complete cycle in 20 minutes. Remember that? The Star Speed or whatever the heck they called it. They just continued it during the pandemic and haven't brought it back. That was an interesting dishwasher. Really all they are is reconfigured Bosches at more expensive price points.
Yeah.
Right?
Part of the promos.
Because, you know, the promo is you're getting $13.99 off, but really the free dishwasher you're getting is a 48 decibel Bosch that even is louder than anything Bosch makes, right? So really what you're looking at is, I think Miele versus a Bosch is a separate conversation. But Miele versus Thermador, Miele is better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. When you're looking at that price point as well, and you're getting very close to what that Miele is anyway, you know, Miele definitely would outperform. But like you said, when you're looking at a true Bosch at a lower price point, definitely some comparisons to be had.
You're going to go out and buy a dishwasher, Miele versus Thermador. Don't waste your time. Miele is going to be a better dishwasher.
No question.
Because the Thermador is going to be like $2,800 because they've already factored in that rebate.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Is that it?
And that's it.
If you like this content, hit the subscribe, and thanks for watching.